Okay, so it's been kind of a while again. Only this time it's because we've been busy as shit. Finally got a new drummer in the band. We made a new music video, played our first show, trademarking the band name, all kinds of crazy shit. And I will document as much as I can in these vlogs to, you know, provide some insight or whatever into the band making process. But the irony is not lost on me that this title is going to have some variation of the word discipline in it, and I haven't uploaded a video in like 3 months. Okay, before we get to all that other stuff, I wanted to wrap up this sort of series or whatever that I've been doing on artistic or creative productivity and some of the things I've been learning in this area. To summarize the last 2 videos, first we talked about focusing on the quality of your work, not just how much you get done, but actually doing good work. After that, we talked about taking breaks so that we can have the energy and enthusiasm to create high quality work or to practice with quality whatever your particular artistic or creative task is, and to do that consistently over a long period of time. So I called that long-term consistency. But what about when you're actually doing the work? So not taking a break, when you're actually in the work and you're doing it. How do we maintain quality there? I guess that's sort of the theme of today's video. Well, I suppose I could summarize my own approach with 2 directives. Lower your expectations and increase your fucking discipline. Let's break these down, and I'm actually going to do it in reverse order. Increase your discipline. Okay, discipline is such a buzzword today, and I'm by no means encouraging anyone to become like a Navy SEAL musician. For our purposes, I'm simply saying, by discipline, do your thing, whatever your thing is, songwriting or practicing or both, hopefully. Do that every day. Just do it every day. Now, why every day? Why not just every Monday is my songwriting day? Why not just schedule something regularly? Now, don't get me wrong, this works for a lot of people. This is what probably most people conventionally do. But in my experience, and in my opinion, our psychology, our nature, somehow is not optimized for this. Let's say I make a schedule to write every Monday and every Friday. So the first week of this, Monday comes, I do my writing, good for me. Get to Friday and something comes up. Something comes up that creates resistance for me, and I want to push the task to another day. Maybe my friends want to hang out or something. Side note, another sort of creative productivity tip, don't have friends. So because I only scheduled 2 days in mind to do my writing for the week, I can very easily rationalize pushing my writing to another day. So I might say, all right, you know what, I'll just do this on Saturday. I don't have to do this today. Well, what about next week when something then comes up on Friday and Saturday? You might rationalize, well, I can just push this to Sunday. But then Sunday is the day before your Monday, and maybe you're not getting the break in between your practicing or your writing, rather. And you might say, well, you know what, I'm going to do it tomorrow anyway because tomorrow's Monday, so you know what, I'll just skip Sunday. And then pretty soon you're only doing it once a week, if that. You see how this kind of snowballs very quickly? On the other hand, if you do the thing every day, then there's no question about whether you do it today. Is today a day? Great, then you're going to do it. Can I put it off till tomorrow? No, because you do it every fucking day, and you're going to do it tomorrow also. And if this sounds too difficult, I think the lower your expectations portion of this video will be helpful. But before we get to that, just one other comment on the daily routine of this, my recommendation to do this daily. I've never read this anywhere, but I do have this theory that I have observed that a lot of human rhythms occur on a daily basis. So things like sleeping, eating, their hormones and physiology. A lot of this is synchronized with the rhythm of the day. So I just have the idea that if you want to get something done, just do it every fucking day. The point is to create a habit, something that you do every day, just like eating, just like brushing your teeth, taking a shower, going to bed. You just want to be able to do your work every day. You want it to feel, at least this is my opinion, it's almost productive to make it feel weird that you haven't done your work. All right, part 2. lower your expectations. This is not going to be as straightforward as just do it every day, but I think it will make sense. Basically, you want to decrease the extent or intensity of your goal so that it's totally unintimidating, so that you're not intimidated to take action on it. You want your goal to be, or task or whatever, to be so simple that it's almost stupid to not get started on it. You want it to seem totally achievable. Now, admittedly, it sounds like just a mind hack, like just a trick of the mind, but there's actually research that shows that this kind of strategy works. Tim Ferriss is a popular guy who talks about this all the time. There's a guy at Stanford named BJ Fogg who has done some TED Talks about this. I've experienced that it works, so I'm a testimonial to this strategy, but I'll link some other resources in the description if you don't believe me. Also, another benefit to sort of lowering your expectations or decreasing the immensity of the task is you avoid burnout. And I've talked about this obviously in the previous videos, but you want to, I think you do want to leave a little bit in the tank so that, again, you can be sort of consistent over time. If you're predicting that a task will totally burn you out, I think that will, again, make it too intimidating. This is sometimes called the Hemingway rule. At least I think that's what it's called. Because Ernest Hemingway apparently would, I hope I'm getting this right, would not write all his ideas when he was writing. He would stop short of writing everything he has in mind so that the next time he got started, he'd have a really strong jumping off point. I actually think I brought this up in my songwriting tips video, so I'll link that in the description too for anyone who cares. Basically, your goal seems really reasonable and achievable. You're consistently getting something done, which motivates you, and you're avoiding the burnout, and you're avoiding getting tired or bored. And all this together actually allows you to do the thing every day. See? I told you this would help. Okay, so let me give you a few practical examples of how I've decreased my expectations in terms of music and this band. First, I practice speed picking every day because obviously being a lead guitar player in a metal band, that's a pretty important skill. And rather than trying to jump up as in a particular exercise, rather than trying to jump up, increase the exercise as much as I can every time, I try to increase the sort of maximum BPM 1 per week. And that doesn't sound like very much, but over the course of a year, that's 50 BPM. That's 50 beats in a single exercise. I mean, that's a huge increase when you're already playing an exercise pretty quickly. I think I'll actually make another video about this because I think this is pretty interesting. Second, if I am learning a piece of music, like a particularly difficult piece of guitar music, I just try to learn 2 to 4 bars per day. Again, it doesn't sound like very much, but it does pile up over the course of a week. And that's plenty if you're doing some crazy shit by Andy James or Guthrie Govan. That stuff's really hard. In terms of my writing, I will usually try to just write I will at least have the expectation of just writing either one riff or maybe finishing one section of a song per day. But more often than not, actually, I have a time goal, a time expectation. So I'll say that I'm going to sit and write for 30 minutes. And I've encouraged some friends who are artistic and creative people to just get started by doing 10 minutes of writing per day. And it seems to be effective for them. But I'm by no means an expert on this. I've just seen that it does work, and it has worked for me. In regards to the 30-minute thing, I have made a video about this, and it's the same video that I'm going to link from some other point I made earlier. And lastly, for non-musical stuff, like making this vlog, I usually sort of set the goal at just 1 task per day. Often I do more than that, but saying that I'm just going to have this one thing as my intended outcome, my intended task, it means that I don't feel overwhelmed by all the shit I have to do. And there is obviously plenty of stuff to do when you're starting a band. All of these things pile up over a relatively short period of time to actually be really meaningful results. And if you are intimidated by your task, you will show up consistently. And here's one other interesting thing. If you're focusing on sort of a smaller aspect of your task, or just a singular task in a given sitting, per day, again, you can really focus on the quality and you can really master it. So to go back to the example of learning a difficult piece of music, If I'm only learning a few bars per day, I can really master them and play them really well. And by the end of the day, I've learned my little section really well. And then by the end of the week, I've learned, let's say, an entire guitar solo really, really well, to the point where I can play it very comfortably. Because I've taken little pieces and really focused on them. Because if you break something down small enough, it's much easier to focus on mastering it. And then that builds up over the course of a week or two or whatever, and I've learned the piece really well, as opposed to learning it really messily. Is that a word? I think so. And mastering a piece of music, a difficult piece of music, in that time frame is really great, because I know what you do. I used to do it. You learn the easy stuff, and then you kind of fudge the harder stuff. Maybe you skip over it, or you just play it really messily. Like if there's a fucking fast section, you just kind of like have your hand seizure out over the fucking thing. And then when it comes time to play the whole piece, you just kind of play that part really shitty, but you play the other stuff really well, or maybe you just skip it, or you never learn the whole piece beginning to end. You don't actually address the difficult things. That's lazy, it's bad for you, stop it. I stopped it, you can too. Alright, I hope this has made a bit of sense to you and been resourceful. If it didn't, please let me know in a comment. If it did, please also let me know in a comment. If you'd like to, if you feel like the video deserves it, we'd really appreciate it if you'd hit the subscribe button and the thumbs up button. All the videos and resources that I've referenced in this, including our own stuff, I'll link in the video description. In particular, I would really like you to check out the War God music video that I made over the course of this summer. It was a giant pain in the ass, and I think it came out pretty well. So please check that out. I'll link it below. And all of our social media stuff will be in the description. You know the drill. Really appreciate you watching. See you next time.